So I'm sorry if I look white and red and gross all over, but I just got up and took a shower, so bear with me. What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be discussing some of the top 10 bands who should have never broken up, because boy, are there a lot of bands that should not have broken up at the time that they did, because if they had kept going, they would have been superstars right now, and it makes me tight. So these bands are going to be in no particular order. These are just the ones that pretty much hit it off really well when they debuted, and then as they kept going, they could have kept going easily, but they just decided to stop for whatever reasons. The first band on my list is someone I was really disappointed to see had already broken up by the time I even discovered them. The band in question is a band called Kids in Glass Houses. Severely underrated band. I'm really mad. They're from Wales. I didn't even know about them until they broke up. Like, can you imagine my disappointment after hearing a bop like Give Me What I Want and then finding out several years down the line about it, and also finding out that they had already disbanded? Like, that's heartbreaking. I was heartbroken. See, the problem I think with this band is that they had the talent to really make it all the way, but the problem is that the UK scene didn't really crawl over into the American scene up until about the time they broke up. So you have all these big pop punk bands coming over from the UK, such as Neck Deep, Rome, As It Is, you know, they're all coming over from the UK and getting big in America and getting fan bases there. But the problem is Kids in Glass Houses broke up in 2014, which is exactly when all of these bands started getting a name in the United States, which is super disappointing because they're very talented, and I was shook the first time I heard their music. Like, shook. According to Wikipedia, it appears that all of their members are now doing other things. Their drummer is now a touring drummer for the band No Devotion. It seems like they're going more the way of production, which is great, but it's like, I'm never gonna see you, so thanks. Now, the next band on my list is another band that you've probably heard of because she was on The Voice and she won The Voice, and now she's a big country star for some reason. But the band I'm talking about is a band called Hey Monday. Now, Hey Monday had what it takes to be one of the next big female-fronted bands in this scene. Like, they could have easily been at the level of Paramore, at the level of Tonight Alive, but they just chose to end at a very interesting time. They were really good. They only had one album and an EP out, and they'd managed to do more in that one album and one EP than a lot of bands do in their entire career. And they had a very specific look about them. I remember they used to wear like the vests, the neon colors, like that was very big at the time. I'm sure they could have adapted very easily to the current day, and they just sounded different. Like, her voice is very distinct. It's not comparable to that of Hayley Williams or Jenna McDougall or Taylor Momsen or whoever else in this scene. But again, this is another band that stopped their career very short into it. They only were a band for a solid 3 years. You know, they had some lineup changes and whatnot, but they got a lot done. They were signed and released their debut album in the same year they were formed. A lot of bands don't get that chance in their first year of being together. They formed in March of 2008. They were signed that summer. I mean, obviously, I'm happy to see Cassidy and the rest of the members doing their own thing, succeeding at their own things. It seems they're doing a really great job on their own, but I could have used another tour. You know, I would have liked to see them on their own headlining tour again. Maybe they could do a reunion tour in the future. Maybe they could call it like the What Happened to Monday tour. Okay, so the next band on my list, and again, this is in no particular order, is the band Cobra Starship, who actually did get a lot of mainstream play, especially with their songs Good Girls Go Bad and You Make Me Feel. What I liked about them is how different they were. They were so unique compared to everybody else in that scene at that time. They were really the founders of the neon pop punk movement, if you really think about it, along with, again, Hey Monday, Forever the Sickest Kids, All Time Low. They all sort of formed this new genre within a genre. But they were just so fun to watch live. I remember watching them as the headliner for the Fueled by Ramen 15-year anniversary tour, and that was a fun show. That was a lot of fun, especially when they brought out William Beckett and Travie McCoy for Snakes on a Plane. Like, definite memorable moments in Sage Haley's concert history. Like, that was up there, for sure. But I think what happened is that there was a shift in genre on the radio, but I think it just became difficult for them to adapt that quickly, as did a lot of bands. After they broke up, it looks like Gabe Saporta went on to form a talent management firm. They also had a sudden lineup change towards the very end of their career. All right, next band on my list is a band called Every Avenue. Now, literally, I've seen this band probably 5 or 6 different times, and none of them were their own shows. Like, they were always opening for a band that I was already going to see, and they just happened to be one of the openers. Like, they were never on their own tour, as far as I know, but they were always opening for a band that I was going to see or was into, which I think was the problem with their overall career. career. You know, they just kept getting these opening slots for these bigger bands, but they never really had time to shine on their own, which is unfortunate because they really were a talented band. I think they just didn't have any chance to really distinguish themselves over these other bands. You know, their first 2 albums were really solid, and then they had a couple of features on the Punk Goes Pop series. Like, they were doing some good stuff, but I also think this was just a very competitive time in the genre. Like, there were a lot of bands vying for these opening spots on these tours because that was the only way they could get exposure at the time. Like, we didn't have Spotify, we didn't have as much social media exposure as we do now, so it was a lot harder to get discovered. So the only way you really could was to be an opener on these tours. I do believe they did have a couple of headlining tours, but they were small, which sucks. And they did do some reunions last year. They did a couple of shows in the Midwest, so I really hope they'll come together and do maybe a couple of more shows. That would be really great for them. Please come back. We miss you. All right, so the 5th band on my list is We Are the In Crowd. And oh my goodness, this is another band that really could have taken it all the way. Now, Tay Jardine is doing her own project called Saint. They've gotten like a decent success, but not as much as the success they had with We Are the In Crowd by a long shot. All of their songs were solid. They were all bops. I'm also probably a little tight because I never got the chance to see them live, which I kind of regret now because I honestly had a lot of opportunities to do so, but
Say la vie!
Note to self, if you're ever thinking if you should go see a band live, just do it. Because chances are they're gonna break up in the next few years and you're never gonna get that chance again, and you're gonna end up kicking yourself for the next however many years that you've been meaning to see them, because the world is unpredictable. Hey Jardine, I hope you're having a great time in Saint, but I hope you do at least one reunion show. Since you're from Poughkeepsie, I will go. I am literally in New York. I will go to your reunion show. Please just come back and do one show. Do this one thing for me. Thank you. Okay, so next on my list is a band that actually played Warped Tour recently. They were playing at the Atlantic City date. I don't remember if they played the California one because I live on the East Coast, but anyway, the band I'm talking about is a band called Valencia. You know, I didn't realize how many stands they had up until I went and saw them at Warped Tour, but they had a lot of fans there. Like, there was a lot of people there. So I really don't get how they could have had that big of a fan base and just broken up just like that. It looks like back in June of this year, they actually did release 2 new songs, which I'll probably listen to after I'm done filming this video. But like, they were so good. Like, the space between Where Did You Go, Dancing with the Ghosts, I feel bad saying that they shouldn't have broken up because I do know for a fact that their former drummer was killed in a motorcycle accident prior to their hiatus. They just had so much potential, and unfortunately tragedies do happen, and that was just a very unfortunate time in their career. But I think now that they're coming back and doing more music is a good step. You know, I'm just glad that they haven't let themselves fall apart in the aftermath of this horrible accident. So I really admire the fact that they took some time away to take care of themselves, but are now back and better than ever. And it's really great that they still have the fan support that they had back then. So I really just wish the best for them in the future. I hope they keep doing what they're doing. Okay, so next band on my list is the band The Academy Is. They were one of like my favorite bands. I remember being in junior year of high school and seeing people walk around my school with their t-shirts, sporting them proudly. So I don't really know what happened because they were just so good and everyone liked them. And they just, again, another band that, it's why? They had a huge fan base. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm gonna look up what happened. Let's find out. Okay, so basically it looks like they disbanded because a few of their members wanted to go on and do different things. Totally fine, but like, they were so good. Why? Why couldn't you do your own side things and still been in the band? You know, people do side projects all the time. I mean, look at Fall Out Boy. Pretty much all of their members have side projects and they're still in Fall Out Boy and they're still killing it. So what's your excuse? I'm sorry, this probably sounds a lot more brutal than it needs to be. Like, I sound insensitive, but I'm just tight because I really like their music. I personally would just like to see them come back. I would definitely see them again if they did come back. All right, nearing the end here, we are on our 8th band, which is Jack's Mannequin. Now, this is not the first band that Andrew McMahon has made. Before this, he was in a band called Something Corporate, and then he formed Jack's Mannequin, and now he has Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, which is great, but out of all 3, Jack's Mannequin is definitely my favorite. Like, honestly, the man is incapable of writing a bad song, but I would say out of all 3, Jack's Mannequin is my definite favorite. It just hit different, you know? It was just like, it like gave you chills. It was just very good piano pop punk, if that makes any sense. All right, so second to last on the list is a band that I'm actually seeing in January, which I'm so pumped for because, oh my God, this band should they're so underrated. It stings. The band I'm talking about is Motion City Soundtrack. Like, they just had so many notable songs, and then they took a nosedive at some point, and then they broke up at honestly a good time. Like it's bittersweet. I want to say they broke up at a good time. Like, for example, Yellowcard, I think, broke up at a good time. They had a good run, lots of albums. My Chemical Romance, as much as it pains me to say, probably broke up at a good time because they were doing different things with their music, and they did do a lot of just back to Motion City, because I'm gonna get emotional again. So Motion City Soundtrack, right? They had a very distinctive sound. Like, a lot of it was electronic based. You would hear like those like the synths in the background. And I think the reason I miss them so much is because since then there haven't been similar to that sound. Like, they were very unique. That's what I appreciate about them. They were a very unique sounding band. And I'm really happy that they're doing another reunion tour, and I'm going to be seeing them in January at the Paramount. If any of you are going, hit me up, because I'll be there screaming in the corner. And the last band on my list is a very recent band compared to the other ones on this list. The band is called Balance and Composure. Now, they came about during the same time that the emo revival was sort of coming to fruition, so coming out around the same time as Title Fight, Into It Over It, you know, Tiger's Jaw, Man Overboard. But they just had a lot of potential, you know, and they were together for a lot longer than I actually thought. They were together for 12 years, which is crazy because they didn't really start getting popular until like their later career. I don't know, I feel like they just could have done more. I feel like it wasn't their time yet. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you agree with any of my opinions. Do you think any of these bands should have truly broken up? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like below as well. Also, if you're new to my channel, hello, how's it going? Make sure to hit the garbage out of that subscribe button, also hitting the bell icon next to it to get the first notice of when my videos go up. I try to upload once a week. To all of my subscribers who have been here before, thank you so much for watching week after week. It really means so much to me that you keep watching. I also have a bunch of social that you should probably check out. I'm gonna leave like a little section here where you can check out all of my social URLs. I just opened a new Tumblr that's got a lot of stuff going on there, so you should probably go check that out. All right, well, it's hot in this room and I need to put a face on because I currently have none. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!